So we have seen to the previous lecture that crushing failure of spigot, in which we have directly calculated the crushing stress, that is nothing but compressive stress, and just I want to move this window. Okay, now you can see only now. Next thing what we are going to see is the shear failure of spigot. This window from the shear application. Okay. I'll stop the sharing and later on I'll start. Just give me 1 minute. Can you see screen clearly? Yes. Now we are not going to see any window inside it. Okay. So crushing failure we have seen for the area which is coming in contact with the pin, quarter pin. Now here we are going to see if suppose the shearing occurs with the spigot, then how we can calculate the shear. Last time also we have seen this equation, but just we will revise it once again. In this case, the shearing which is taking place, this shearing is taking place because of the pin. If suppose pin is sufficiently strong, and if we are going to apply the pulling load, then this pin, which is basically here, will shear out the area of that spigot. and that sheared area which we are going to see here, okay, this area will over or resisting to the shear. So when we are going to write the formula for the shear stress, this we can write as shear stress is equal to applied force, that is P, divided by the cross sectional area which is resisting to that shear or which is going to shear out. So while you are going to calculate this area, just we should know this dimension that is small d, okay, and this dimension which already we have seen is A, where in the first diagram, if you want to see that diagram, I will see it once again so that you can remember it. But here you can see this D multiplied by A, sorry, it is D2. So D2 multiplied by A is the area. But here you can see area which we have considered, that is this length A and this height D2. We have calculated only one side area, but shearing is taking place to the both side. There is nothing but this front view, and exactly opposite to that from this side, this area is also undergoing to the shear. So we have to just double it so that we can calculate the exact area which is undergoing to the shear. So once you calculate this shear stress, then we can calculate the load carrying capacity of this pivot also for the shearing. That is just keep all this to the other side, and we can calculate it in terms of P, where it is calculated as P is equal to 2 into A into D2 into tau, where tau is the shear stress, right? So by this means we can calculate dimensions which are required, that is D2 we can calculate, or once you have calculated by from the empirical formulae that D2, then A you can calculate. Or if suppose you have considered, because here if you see the previous slide, in the previous slide we have seen how the empirical formulas can be used. Here A can be calculated, okay, it is 0.75 of D. Then once you decide here the A, then you can calculate D2 here, okay. Or if you have calculated this D2 in the previous applications, then you can decide here A. Or if both the quantities you are knowing from the empirical formula, A you have calculated, and from the other design, that is from here, if you have calculated D, that is nothing but while you are designing this spigot, okay, then just you can check for the shear whether it is withstanding with the shear stress or not. म्हणजे दोन्ही पण व्हॅल्यू ह्या जर ए आणि डी टू, कारण आपण पहिल्या ज्या वेळेला टेन्साईल फेल्युअर मध्ये ज्या वेळेला आपण कन्सिडर करत होतो त्यावेळेला D2 तिथं आलाय, आणि इम्पेरिकल फॉर्म्युल्यावरून तुम्ही जर ए कॅल्क्युलेट केला तर त्या दोन्हीही व्हॅल्यू इथं पुट करून वेदर वी आर गेटिंग द लोड विच धिस पिगॉट कॅन कॅरी इज मोर दॅन द अप्लाइड लोड. म्हणजे हा जर पी ची व्हॅल्यू अप्लाइड लोड पेक्षा जास्त आली तर वी कॅन से इट इज सेफ. Otherwise, if it is coming low, then we have to again redesign it. We have to go back and we have to decide the value of A and D2. Okay, or you have to consider this value from the equation, this equation. Getting me? Here you can ask questions, sir. Already this A has been calculated here. Empirical formula वरून A आपण calculate केला इथं. Okay, आणि when we are going to design, when we are going to design this spigot for the direct tensile load, here also we have chance that we can calculate D, is D2. Right? So once you are able to calculate this D2, then why it is necessary again to go and use this formula for calculating D2? That you can ask. But here you can check whether the capacity of load carrying of that spigot is correct or not. Might be in some cases, if the shear stress is the major thing, then we have to again use different values for the D2 and A. Okay, at this stage also. Got it? Any question? Now we'll check how to design the socket. Once that spigot part is over, we can go for the deciding the dimensions of the socket, or we can check whether that socket is fulfill or capable to carry the load which is applied, that is P, external load or external pull P, and the stresses which are induced because of that external pull are within the safe limit or not. That you have to check. So when we are going to consider the socket, first of all, we have to check which dimensions we are going to calculate. D1 is the outer diameter of that socket. D4, that is nothing but the distance, that collar diameter. Okay, and C is the remaining distance here from the pin that you have to calculate. This remaining distance, C. Okay, for that, once again, if required, we can see the diagram from which we are going to take all these dimensions or parts of the spigot joint here. See, so this socket, when we are going to design this socket, inner diameter of socket is D2, outer diameter of socket is D1, which we have to calculate or we have to decide. Okay, once you have already calculated this D2, that is the outer diameter of the spigot, then you can use this value and then we can find the D1 and this distance, the distance which is remaining. This distance, that is C. Also, we have to calculate the diameter of this collar, this distance. Okay, which is denoted by external diameter of that socket. Okay, D4, socket collar diameter. So once again, we'll go to the slide from where we have came back. Okay, here. Now, first of all, we are going to consider the failure of that socket in tensile load. Okay, so where the socket will be weak, where you have made the groove in that socket, because this area we have removed, and that's why here the concentration of stress is there, as well as what stress concentration we are going to see to the next unit, and this area has removed from that socket. That's why it will be weaker here, right? So in this case, if this is going to sustain the externally applied load P, this externally applied load P, then definitely this part, okay, this is solid one, and this collar part, which is again solid one, is able to sustain this externally applied pull P. Okay. Now here, when we are going to consider the tensile stresses which are generated in this socket, then when we are going to use this tensile stress, we are going to calculate the stress by means of externally applied load divided by the cross-sectional area. Now here, this cross-sectional area is the red part which we are going to see here. So how to calculate this area, red area only? So here you can see small diagram. That is the front view of this particular area. So it can be calculated as, first of all, we have to calculate all this shaded area, and later on you can subtract this area from the total area, right? I think it is a repetition of previous lecture, but we'll see, we'll go further. So how we can calculate it? That is, you can calculate this area by means of d1 square or pi by 4 d1 square pi by 4 d1 square minus pi by 4 d2 square. Okay, but this is the only area of that circle. Now we have to subtract the area which were indicated here by pink lines. Okay, so that area can be subtracted by means of its width, that is t, multiplied with d1 minus d2. So if you are going to say this t into d1 minus d2 is nothing but this much length plus this much length. Okay, so simultaneously you are going to multiply with these two lengths. Okay, we'll say this as a x length and y length. Okay, so you are going to multiply this x plus y or xy, this d1 minus d2, that is total length x plus y, actually it is x plus y multiplied by t, because this area and this area we have to subtract. So this total length multiplied by its total width. So this area is calculated, and we can say this much area is undergoing to the tensile failure when we are going to apply load P. So stress can be calculated, that is sigma T is equal to force divided by area. So force is P, area just we have calculated. So sigma T can be calculated. Or if you are knowing the limit, that is nothing but if you know the sigma T value, then you can calculate rest of dimensions also. Next slide. That is P is equal to pi by 4 d1 square minus d2 square minus this d1 minus d2 into t multiplied by sigma T, where sigma T is the tensile stress limit. Okay, which we are going to calculate after considering the factor of safety. So we can calculate this value of P. If this value of P is less than, sorry, greater than the applied load, is greater than the applied, actual applied load, PA I will say it. So then we can say this design is safe, because this socket can sustain load more than the applied load. Got it? So you can calculate this D1, D2 value, or D2 already you are knowing, because while you are designing spigot, we have calculated D2. So T, that is thickness of that pin, that also we have calculated. Or we are going to check it later on. First we will decide the thickness, and later on we will calculate it while we are going to design pin. Okay, and we are going to consider the pin is undergoing to the double shear. At that time you can check this thickness. So remaining things are known, that's why we can calculate value of D1. Then for the D2, that we can D4, that we can take it from the empirical formulae, and later on we can check it. Okay, just a minute. So this D4 value, that 2.4 times of D, and C value is 0.75 times of the D, that were calculated, or that we are going to consider from the empirical formula. Already I have told you that such type of empirical formulas are experience based formulas which are used as a standard procedure of design. Okay, and hence we are going to consider that values, and if these values are not sustainable values, okay, that means if the uh, dimension which is coming is not able to sustain the stress which is generated, then we are going to change these values. Okay, so we have seen the failure criteria of socket in tensile load. Next, we are going to now calculate the diameter of that collar of the socket, as well as how much distance we are going to consider from this pin end to the end of that socket. That is nothing but collar length, we can say. Okay, collar length, which is denoted by C, by considering shear failure of this socket. Okay, now you may ask question that from this side why the shearing is not occurring, that is from this side. If you are not asking this question, I'm asking this question to everybody. Why we are not considered a shear in this case? If you see this spigot, in spigot we have considered the shearing from the other side, that is nothing but the insided part or inserted part. Okay, it is very simple one. Can anybody of you give me logical answer for this? If I apply load P here and inserted spigot here, then inserted quarter pin and directly apply the load, and shearing is not taking place to this side. We are going to consider the shearing of this socket to the opposite side of this rod. Why? Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. You can give answer in chat box also. Yes, anybody? Whether you have written something in chat box? No. Yes, yes. Please write your opinion. Are you listening me? Everybody of you? Am I audible? Yes or not? Hello? Yes, I am audible. Okay, can you put the opinion, your opinion, why we are not considered shearing to the other side? If suppose I join these two plates and if I apply pulling load in this way, and we'll consider that this nut and bolt which we are going to use is going to shear out this plate, and whether the shearing will take place in this direction or this area or opposite area, this area, where shearing will be take place. This plate 2 and this is plate 1. Plate 2 is going to end here. Okay, this is upper plate suppose, and plate 1 is the lower plate. Okay, below it, and where shearing will be take place. Hello. Sharing कुठं होणार आहे? Yes.
At that position, they are contact to each other.
At that position where they are in contact with each other. That means this will apply by pulling, but not by shear, right? Because this is the nut or bolt, which is, sorry, it is bolt actually, which is trying to shear out this plate, not to the other side, because it is pulled in this direction. Likewise, here also for the socket, we are going to pull it. इथं बसणार आहे पिन. ओके, ही पिनची जागा आहे आणि पिन जर ह्या सॉकेटला शियर आउट करायला लागली तर ह्या साईडला नाही करणार आहे ती. आणि ह्या साईडला आपण लोड ह्या सॉकेटच्या आतून सॉकेट मधून जाणार आहे. पिनला तो लोड सस्टेन होणार नाही किंवा तिथे जाणार नाही. तो सॉकेट नंतर तो पिनला ट्रान्सफर होईल, पण अपोजिट करणारा एरिया हा असणार आहे त्या साईडचा, त्या साईडचा नाही. ओके, हा डायरेक्ट टेन्साइल लोड विल बी अप्लाइड इन दिस region also, but shear that will occur where the pin is in contact with the socket. Okay, and in the direction to the pin is applying load. Okay, पिनला कुठल्या साईडला ओढलं जातंय त्या साईडला तो पार्ट शेअर आउट होण्याची शक्यता आहे. पिनला आता आपण इकडे ओढतोय, त्याच्या आतमध्ये जर स्पिगॉट टाकला तर. ओके, आणि सॉकेट काय करतोय, त्याला इकडल्या साईडला ओढतोय इकडं. त्याच्यामुळं जो एरिया शेअर आउट होईल तो हा एरिया असणार आहे, रेड एरिया. ओके. Okay, these are the things which actually we have to ask ourselves while we are studying such type of designing. Okay, now when we are going to apply this criteria, that is shear criteria, then we have to calculate what will be the shear area. Now when this socket will get shear out, this what we call rectangular part will comes out, and this rectangular part also will comes out. But actually the area which is undergoing to the shear will be this area, and we use this area and area which is opposite to that, right? So when we are going to calculate any area, that at that time we have to calculate it as here twice and here also twice, because these two rectangular parts will be shear out. So we have to use formulae, that is nothing but shear stress is equal to force, that is P, which is applied, that is pulling load, divided by area. While you are going to calculate this area, then this area can be calculated. Here you can see this small diagram. This area can be calculated as width multiplied by its height. Okay, width is C and height is here X and here Y. Okay, actually X and Y are both are same, so I can directly write here X and X. So this X and X or X plus X can be calculated as D4 minus D2, like in the previous case which we have calculated, D4 minus D2. So this area can be calculated as C multiplied by D4 minus D2. Okay. So now when we are going to solve it for the load, this will be the equation. P is equal to twice. Now where we are going to consider this as a twice, because this area which we have calculated is for the one side only, and sharing is taking place to the both side. That's why 2 has to be multiplied here. So 2 into D4 minus D2, D4 minus D2 multiplied by C into shear stress. Any question? Hello? As per as the previous slide and this slide is considered, any question? Have you got how the formula can be derived? Or you have already calculated this D2 while you are designing the spigot, and you have already calculated this C from the previous tensile consideration. Both value you can put here and you can find out D4 because that will be unknown. If the limit shear stress limit is given in the statement, problem statement, and load which we have to apply that also can be given, then we can calculate this D4 value. Okay. Finally, these are only derived formulas. Which quantity we have to calculate, that quantity, for that quantity you can use this formula. Okay, rearrange this all variables and calculate the value which you want to find out. Got it? Any question? Okay, shall we move further? Now this socket dimensions we have calculated. Now we are going to check whether this decided thickness from the empirical formula, this thickness, and width which we have calculated already for the pin, and length of that pin, that is how much this distance should be, this length, that dimensions you have to calculate regarding the pin, and you are going to call it as a design of quarter pin. Okay, so this design of quarter pin, while we are going to consider this design of quarter pin, first of all the major stress which is coming in this quarter pin is the shear stress. Okay, this pin will undergo to the shear because half part, okay, this half part, not exactly half, but this part will coming in contact with the spigot, and this upper part and lower part are coming in contact with the socket. So socket is trying to pull to the opposite side of that spigot to the pin, and hence the shearing is possible for this pin. So first of all, we will consider the shear stress, and later on we will calculate the other stresses, that is crushing stresses also. So when we are going to consider this pin, from the empirical formula directly you can calculate T, and later on you can check it for the shear as well as for the crushing stress. Okay, so you can use this formula, or directly you can put the values of shear stress, allowable shear stress and applied load, and you can calculate this area. Okay, and from that you can calculate thickness. Okay, so this B, okay, that is bending stress we have considered here, but before that, this width when we are going to calculate B, that will be calculated from the, okay, this is new type of stress which is yet we have not considered. This type of bending may be possible. Am I right? When you are inserting pin and this part is pulling to this pin in this direction, and this upper and lower part is pulled in this direction, then this bending is possible. Now this bending is calculated from the formula which you have derived in previous course, that is analysis of mechanical element, okay, or MOM, mechanics of material. So from that, this bending stress value can be calculated. Okay, and this bending stress means what? Can anybody of you give me what will be the value of bending stress? What we have to consider as a bending stress? Whether we do you have concept of bending stress? Bending is taking place for the pin, but whether you are knowing any value as a or any stress as a bending stress. What happens in case of bending? Okay, let me ask one question. What is neutral axis? In case of bending of any column or beam, what is neutral axis? Okay, if the bending is taking place in this way, which type of stresses will be induced in the half part, that is upper half part of this beam, and which type of stresses will be induced in the lower half part of this beam?
Compressive and tensile.
Compressive and tensile stress. Where the compressive will be?
Upper side,
Upper side. And where the tensile will be?
lower side.
Lower side. Okay. So this tensile and compressive is nothing but what the result of bending is. Basically, the stress are tensile as well as compressive. Are the stresses which we are going to consider are the tensile one and compressive one. And where are this is a layer where the tensile and compressive stress both are not acting. That you are going to call as a neutral axis. Okay. And if the tensile stresses are exceed than the limit, then the failure will occur here. If the compressive stresses are exceed than the limit, then failure will occur in this region. But basically, we know that the sustainable capacity of any material is more in case of compressive stress than tensile stress. So first of all, failure will occur in tensile part, whereas it will occur in compressive part. For any material which we are going to see or which are normally used for manufacturing any machinery or any part of that machinery. Okay, so normally failure occurs in tensile part. Okay, so basically these stresses are the tensile stresses. Now this formulae which already we have derived, just we are using it. So width B is equal to, actually this is B into T. So this part is taken from other side. So width is equal to under root 3P divided by T into sigma B. Sigma B, what you are going to use here? Sigma B, basically it is tensile or compressive. So value of sigma T we are going to use here. Okay, bending stress. Okay, sigma T, that value we are going to consider, because maximum stress will be at the upper layer or uppermost layer, I can say, and lowermost layer, because this stress, bending stress, is going to vary from neutral axis to lower or farmost layer. It is more because you might have drawn such type of diagram while you have drawn the stress diagram. So this part, and this is the neutral axis and lowermost part. If you are going to see it as a compressive, is as a tensile, right? So this is what the maximum stress which is occurring in this beam. Now this beam in our case is going to become as a pin, and it is undergoing to the bending in this way. So here it will be maximum tensile stress, and here it will be maximum compressive stress, which is the farthest layer from the neutral axis. Okay. From that, we are going to calculate this B. So you might have considered it as a Y. Okay. While you are derived this formula, but we are going to take this Y plus Y, 2Y as a B. Okay. Because it's total width that we are going to consider. Y is nothing but only variable which is used. Okay. This 2Y is going to become in our case as a B. So this B is equal to under root 3P divided by T, that is thickness, into sigma B. Here you can use value of sigma T or sigma C. Okay. Into bracket D2 by D4. Sorry, D2 by 4 plus D4 minus D2 by 6. Okay. These values we have already taken from this concept of bending of beam. Okay. So from this formally, once you are going to calculate the B, or simply you can calculate this B from the tensile failure, not actual tensile failure, shear failure also, and you can check it for the bending. If the stresses which you are going to calculate from this formula are less than the allowable stress, then you can say this B value is correct. Okay, or can be applied, or is not correct but can be used. Next. Okay. Next, all these formulas which we have seen till now just are tabulated here. That is, first of all, we have calculated dimensions for the rod, in which we have calculated D. Okay. Then spigot tensile failure, we can calculate D2. Then empirical relation D3, T1, and A, that can be calculated. Okay. Later on are checked for the crushing failure and shear failure. Okay. Where crushing failure, in case of crushing failure, we have checked that whether this value of sigma C is coming less than the allowable value, and shear stress value is coming less than the allowable value. Okay, by means of the shear stress formula and crushing stress formula. Dimensions are decided here only. Okay, and once spigot is over, then we have calculated dimensions for the socket. Socket failure we have considered in tensile, where we have calculated D1. Okay, then by means of empirical formula, we have calculated D4 and C. So D4 and C are calculated, okay, and are checked for the crushing stress and shear failure. Crushing stress, where sigma C value is coming less than the allowable shear, compressive stress, and this tau, that is shear stress, is coming less than the allowable shear stress. Okay, then we can say these two values which we have calculated from the empirical relation are acceptable. Later on, we have seen quarter, and in this quarter first we have used the empirical formula. Okay, no doubt that this T is used here also. Okay, so first of all we can calculate this value, and then we can go for the designing of spigot. Okay, and we can use this value which we have calculated as a quarter thickness for the spigot design. Getting me? So you can change this sequence. You can design first this quarter after rod, and then you can design spigot and socket. Getting? So because this T1 we have considered, no, T1 is the thickness of that collar, so that cannot be considered, and T is the thickness of quarter. Okay, from that we have calculated this T. Later on we have checked it whether it will be sustainable for the tensile stress, where we are going to calculate D also. Okay. Where we can calculate this B value, and later on that B value is checked for the bending stress. Okay, if this sigma B are coming, that is tensile stress, then the less than the allowable tensile stress, then we can say the value which we have calculated as a B, that can be acceptable. If not, then here you can put value of sigma T, and you can choose, or you can calculate this B, and you can put it in previous formula. Okay, got it? Any question? This PPT I am going to share with you. That's why you can use this ready chart for as a for procedure and formulas for the design of quarter joint. Any question? Nobody is taking part in discussion. Why? Whether no. Okay. Whether this is effect of 5 days inertia, that lectures were not conducted in the Diwali vacation. Okay, no doubt. Mhm. So we'll have next lecture also, which will be start at 3:30. Okay. So here you can put your roll numbers, and we'll stop here. We'll see the next part to the next lecture. Everybody has to put their roll number once. And you can leave class. Thank you for listening me.
हॅलो
Yes.
सर रोल नंबर पडत नाही चॅट बॉक्स मध्ये.
पडत नाही इथे लिहिलंय तुमचा रोल नंबर 40 आहे की.
पडला का सर? इथं दाखवत नव्हतं सर.
पुढे दाखवत नव्हतं.
म्हणजे पडलेलं असं फेल्ड म्हणून दाखवत होतं सर पहिल्यांदा.
Failed. Okay, you can once again you can put a message.
Yes sir.
Can you see my message? TA40. Gaurav Karande is not in this meeting. Yes, I can see here now. Okay, no problem. So others can write their roll numbers. Rohit Kadam, Dipendra, Viraj Patil. Whether you have put your roll number? Once again, I am asking to Rohit. Then Dipendra, Viraj Patil, and Kedar Yadav. Okay, thank you for listening.